We're here with our friend Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida, who's made Florida the freest state in the country, maybe the freest place in the world. I don't know, but I certainly love it. Governor, you've tried to put in place in a special session of your legislature very tough and very important immigration deportation policies. You're trying to really upgrade and modernize the statutes that are in place. You came across a few RINOs, many actually, who want to obstruct you and stop you and President Trump from doing what needs to be done, including the Speaker of the House, this guy Perez. Can you fill us in on this?
Well, Mark, as soon as the election in November and President Trump's victory, we knew we had opportunities to finally tackle and solve the illegal immigration crisis in this country. And yes, the border security and President Trump's going to do all that, but enforcing the laws on the books and deporting illegals that are here is absolutely essential. And so we had been working with the transition. We knew where they were going in terms of executive orders. So 2 weeks ago, I called a special session of the Florida Legislature to start today. Now, the legislative leaders said that it was premature. They rejected what I said. They said they didn't need to deal with immigration, that it could wait. And then we didn't really hear anything, and then today they came, as they're required to do, and they gavelled out of what I called for the session, but they called their own and then submitted their own bill, which gutted all the enforcement provisions that we need to make sure that this stuff actually works. Now, they're calling it the Trump Act, which is like, you know, how these legislators, they'll do like the Affordable Care Act, and it's anything but affordable. This is really the Swamp Act. It doesn't help President Trump at all, and it actually guts our current ability to assist him. Because right now, I'm assisting with Florida Highway Patrol, Florida National Guard. We're working with ICE to help on all these issues. The bill that the Florida Legislature did actually takes away the governor's authority to assist with immigration enforcement. It gives it to the Commissioner of Agriculture, not exactly an industry known for wanting immigration enforcement. So all the things that we need to be strong, to work hand in glove with the Trump administration on the state and local level, all of those essential provisions were taken out. And this, what they're proposing, is not going to work. So we got to get this right. This is probably our only chance to get it right. They didn't want to do this at all. They finally filed this bill. But the reality is the proposals that we put forth were very, very strong. And you don't have to agree with every proposal I do, but don't gut the enforcement. And that's what they did.
And on top of that, he says your proposals are too narrow to help with President Trump's plan. I thought President Trump was very supportive of what you're doing. This guy Perez is just spinning like hell.
Well, I talked to the president today, and he said he wants the strongest possible. So obviously my proposals are the strongest possible. And I talked with some of his key staffers, and they recognize, like, yes, the federal government under Donald Trump can do a lot, but if you don't have state and locals required to assist, you are not going to make the dent in this problem that we need. State and local account for 98% of interactions with illegal aliens. I think that if Florida Highway Patrol pulls somebody over and they don't have ID and they're here illegally, then they need to be required to report that to ICE and let ICE come and get them. I think if a local police officer shows up to a call at, say, an apartment complex, and they notice there's an illegal alien gang there, that they should be required to get ICE there so that those folks can be taken off our street. None of that is in the bill that these legislative leaders proposed. And so here's the thing, Mark. If you are for lax immigration enforcement and you run saying you want to be weak on it and you win and then that's what you do, you know, I disagree with that. But every one of these Republicans has railed against Biden's policies for 4 years, the open border, the lack of interior enforcement. They say we're going to be strong. And yet now we have this once-in-a-generation opportunity to have Florida really lead the way, and other states would follow us if we were able to do this right, to really make a difference for our people, and that's not happening with what the legislature is doing. And so I think you got to do what you said you'd do. Don't tell the people you're going to be tough and then refuse to do the type of enforcement that's necessary to be able to deport illegals. You know, in the bill that the legislature proposed, it mentioned agriculture like 23 times. It did not use the word deportation one time in the entire bill.
the Florida Democrat Party posted on Twitter that the GOP representatives who voted against what you wanted, they had an unexpected growth of a backbone. So the Democrat Party is supporting what these RINO Republicans did, including this guy Perez. This is me speaking, not you. I'm just saying. Perez seems to be very giddy about what he's doing here. You think that they're pretty much...
So the people that were supportive openly were the Florida Democratic Party, the ACLU of Florida, and then liberal journalists that write in Tallahassee. And so, because I can tell you, all the great conservative wins we've had that people look and say, free state of Florida, fighting the woke, standing up against illegal, all the things we've done in the past, all those groups, they have been opposed to us every step of the way. So the fact that they're supporting what the legislative leaders are doing, that should tell you that what they're doing is not strong. Because if they were honestly doing something that was really going to help President Trump enforce immigration law and increase deportations, all those groups would be screaming bloody murder. They're not doing that. They're cheering what the Florida Republican legislative leaders did, and that should tell you a lot.
Well, explain to us, because we don't follow it as closely, the breakdown of the voting that's been taking place here. Is it Democrats joining with certain Republicans? Is it mostly Republicans? What's going on here?
Well, that's going to be, I think, the question. So we have super majorities of Republicans in the Florida legislature. I don't know if the Democrats are going to vote for this.
Well, let me just which you wouldn't have but for you. Let's be honest. I've been there long enough. They wouldn't have super majorities, the Republicans, in either house. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, it's certainly true. The 22 election gave us, that was when I was running for re-election, and we swept in a lot of folks. And so, and then we kept the supermajority in 24 largely because we have a great record of producing results. And so here's what I know. I know we got a number of strong Republicans that are standing up for strong enforcement, but they're being pressured by leadership, all the rank and file, to kind of go softer and to gut the enforcement, which I think is very, and even, Mark, even things like making it a crime for an illegal alien to register to vote. I have that in our bills. They took that out of their proposal. They think it's fine if illegal aliens are registering to vote in the state of Florida. Are you kidding me? Give me a break with some of this stuff. But here's what I would say. Just imagine if you have a weak immigration bill, you gut the proposals that we had. If you have Republicans lining up with Democrats to oppose conservative immigration policy, that is obviously a betrayal of what they promised the voters that they would do. The Democrats are almost an irrelevancy in Florida. Why would you try to bring them back to life and resuscitate them politically? We have the upper hand. We need to be doing strong policy, conservative policy, do the things we told the voters we would do, and we will make a huge, huge difference in this immigration fight if we do. But if we turn it over to the Department of Agriculture, we got the enforcement provisions, we don't even criminalize registering to vote as an illegal, that's not going to make a damn bit of difference. And you can tell if it actually would make a difference, the Florida Democratic Party would not be cheering.
Yeah, but I think you have a problem with the Republican leadership in the legislature. They sound like what we call RINOs. And they are selling out the special interests, and they're selling out their voters, and they expect the media to carry the ball for them and deceive the public. Do you think that's going to work?
Well, here's what I think Florida Republicans have learned over the years since I've been governor. Every single initiative I have done that people like and are thankful for, the media here opposed 100%. They've never supported anything that I have done. And so if the media is aligning with the Florida legislative leaders, that should be a huge, huge red flag to say, well, wait a minute, this must not be something that's very, very strong if you have the same media that has opposed our entire Florida project for the last 6 years hopping on board with them. Why is the Florida Democrats cheering? Why are liberal state senators high-fiving members of the Republicans who are supporting this stuff? Why are they doing that? I can tell you, when we were killing woke in Florida, liberal senators were not high-fiving. When we were passing policies to ban sanctuary cities, liberal senators were not high-fiving. When we were getting the woke out of the curriculum and defeating ESG and eliminating DE&I, those liberal senators were not high-fiving. So they are high-fiving now, and I think that should tell you all you need to know.
So what's the state of play? Does your proposal come up in a form of a bill? Will they allow a vote, or it's their bill, or what's the situation?
So it's interesting because some of the people were saying, oh, well, the governor doesn't have proposals, which I actually did. I put out proposals 2 weeks ago. But what happened was they never allowed anyone to file any bills for special session until last night. So the actual text of the bills finally got filed. Then they filed their own bill, which, they named the Trump Act because they think somehow that's going to fool people to think it's a good bill. How insulting, though, is that to voters that they think just putting Trump's name on something that he has nothing to do with, and gutting immigration enforcement, that's something going to be something that people they're not even going to look behind the hood. Of course they are. They know that this stuff has to be strong. So I think what will happen is they're going to put on their bill. I know a lot of the strong conservative senators will probably offer amendments, but I think they're going to hardwire it to be able to exclude our strong enforcement provisions, our provisions that are holding illegals accountable for registering to vote. We're cracking down on remittances that illegal laborers are sending back home to remove that disincentive. We've got a whole host of things that are really, really strong. But I would imagine that they're probably going to push back on some of that. And so we'll see what ends up happening. But bottom line is this. Is your product that you're pursuing, does it match the campaign rhetoric that you ran on? And I can tell you the stuff I'm proposing matches my rhetoric. It matches what Donald Trump promised the voters in 2024. And honestly, it matches what most members of the legislature ran on. So we're being true to what we told the voters we would do. I don't know that anyone in the Republican Party could have honestly run saying, we don't think locals and states should be required to help federal immigration enforcement on deportation, but we want to transfer the remaining power to the Commissioner of Agriculture. No one campaigned on that. And if they did, they would have gotten laughed out of the room.
It's amazing how these establishment RINOs come out of the woods. I'm guaranteeing most of these guys are fronting for different special interests, and they're just hoping they can lie and deceive the public. Governor DeSantis, I hope you'll keep us apprised when a next major event takes hold here so we can inform the audience.
Will do, Mark. And all I would say, you Floridians out there, reach out, give your state senator, your state rep phone calls. If you want strong immigration enforcement policies, we have the prescription that me and my allies have done. What they're calling the Trump Act is anything but. It's actually going to undermine President Trump's ability to fulfill his campaign promises.
So call your state representatives, your state senator in Florida, and tell them you support the DeSantis immigration deportation reform agenda, period. Just tell them, well, I support the Trump Act. No, you don't. We know what you're doing, and we're not going to put up with it. All right, Governor, thank you very much.
Hey, thanks, Mark. Take care. Bye-bye.
You too. God bless. So if you live in Florida, this is a Levin surge. Seriously. Most of you don't know who your state reps or state senators are, and I don't blame you. But you need to look it up. Go online, find out what your neighborhood is, who represents you. I get on the phone tomorrow. I would call them. Be polite. Be civil. I'd call their offices, and I'd make it abundantly clear that you know the game they're playing, that the Republican RINO establishment is calling their bill the Trump bill when it's not the Trump bill. It's the Romney bill, in effect. And that you back the DeSantis positions, which also President Trump does as well.